Welcome to Asian Star Trend. Our channel updates hot news about Asia's most popular stars. Please subscribe and comment to help us update better videos. Hae Yi carries with her the kind of quiet magic that feels almost unreal, petite, light on her feet, like a fairy who has wandered out of a storybook. There is a softness to her, a face that holds both youth and poise, and a shy smile that falls on her lips like the first light of a spring morning. Yet beneath that gentleness lies a spark, subtle but undeniable, the kind that lingers in memory long after a glance. Standing at the opposite end of this spectrum is Zhao Handong. Tall, broad-shouldered, and cut from sharper lines, he carries the kind of presence that cannot be taught. His gaze is steady, his features bold, the sort of man whose quiet confidence draws attention before he has even spoken a word. It was in the unpredictable swirl of a program shoot that these two, so different in bearing, first crossed paths. Under the glare of cameras and the restless energy of a crowded set, their eyes met. It lasted barely a second, but it was a second that seemed to stretch, silent and weightless. Hae Yi, caught off guard, dropped her gaze, fingers curling into the hem of her shirt. Without a word, Zhao Handong moved ever so slightly, his stance instinctively shielding her from the curious eyes around them. For those watching, it was nothing more than a fleeting gesture. Yet there was something there, something unspoken, something tender. And as the cameras rolled on, that suspended moment left the audience holding their breath, wondering if perhaps they had just witnessed the quiet beginning of a story that would one day be worth telling. Wasn't this the perfect scene? A seemingly untouchable male god softening, in an instant, into a quiet guardian? That single frame, sharp in its contrast, rippled across the internet like wildfire. One fan confessed, "It felt like the opening shot of a youth drama unfolding right before my eyes." Another was more blunt, his eyes betrayed him, and perhaps they were right. In that unguarded second, the first light of something new seemed to break through. But make no mistake, Hae Yi is not the fragile white rabbit she appears to be. Behind the delicate frame and unassuming smile is a young actress forged from discipline and drive. Away from the spotlight, she studies, she prepares, she refuses to coast on her looks. On set, she never grumbles, never asks for shortcuts. Instead, she throws herself into each take with a precision and heart that leaves directors quietly impressed. Her gentleness, far from a weakness, has become her most unshakable shield. Beneath it lies a will of iron, a determination that belies her size. Petite she may be, but timid she is not. In a world that often confuses softness with fragility, Hae Yi stands as proof that the two can coexist, a quiet force of nature in her own right, and perhaps the only kind of presence that could disarm someone like Zhao Handong in a single glance. Instead, what makes Hae Yi unforgettable is not her appearance but her sincerity. In the chaos of variety shows, she is the one who instinctively reaches out to comfort a teammate, the first to raise her hand when faced with a daunting challenge. During an extreme sports program, when every other female guest froze in fear, she was the one who tightened the harness, squared her tiny shoulders, and shouted, "I can do it." That single act made Zhao Handong pause. For a beat, the unflappable expression that fans call his stone face faltered, giving way to something softer: pride, admiration, perhaps even awe. And really, how could anyone not be moved? In that moment, Hae Yi showed that even the smallest frame can hold extraordinary courage. She is not simply someone to protect, she is someone to respect. For years, fans have called Zhao Handong a walking hormone, the very embodiment of the novel-worthy male lead: cool aura, calm voice, broad shoulders, and an untouchable self-possession. But something has shifted. Since crossing paths with Hae Yi, that ice-cold exterior has begun to thaw. There's a warmth now, a flicker of something different in his gaze whenever she steps into the frame, a silent confession that perhaps even the strongest need someone who can surprise them. In one interview, when asked what he would do if someone he loved were ever misunderstood, Zhao Handong's answer came without a pause: "I will stand in front of her." Just 7 words, yet they rang out like a vow, and he has lived by them. At a later event, when a barrage of media questions turned towards Hae Yi, he stepped forward, placing himself between her and the cameras. "She won't be answering any questions today," he said quietly, firmly. That small but resolute act of protection sent fans into a frenzy. This, one comment read, is what a real man looks like. His feelings don't need to be broadcasted, they are written clearly in every glance, every gesture, in the simple but unwavering message, "I'm here for you." Perhaps that is why every time they share the stage, the air seems to shift. Their interactions carry the ease and sweetness of an unscripted idol drama, so natural and unpolished that they warm even the most jaded heart. When she stumbled once, it was his hand that caught her before she fell, worry flashing in his eyes faster than words could form. Backstage on a winter night, when she trembled from the cold, he silently pressed a cup of hot water into her hands, as though it were the most ordinary thing in the world. These are small things, fleeting things. Yet it is in these moments, unscripted and unforced, that a story begins to take root, and an audience, watching, cannot help but wonder, are we witnessing fiction come to life, or life quietly writing its own script? She's nervous before stepping onto the stage. He doesn't need to speak. From the audience, he simply raises his hand, mouthing a quiet "go," and somehow, that one gesture is enough to steady her heart. These small, wordless acts have touched millions. One moment in particular has become legendary among fans. At a brand event, the zipper of Hey Ying's gown stuck, leaving her flustered under the bright lights. Without hesitation, Zhao Zhendong stepped in front of the cameras, his tall frame shielding her from every lens. "Don't panic. I'm here," he whispered as he fixed it. It was a scene straight out of a romance novel, only it wasn't scripted. Within minutes, hashtags like Hey Yang, Zhao Zhendong and heart-melting moment dominated the trending charts. Netizens half joked, half begged, "Please, just get married already," but their bond has never relied on dramatic declarations or showy affection. Instead, it's the unspoken trust, the instinctive care, that tells their story. Through these moments, people begin to believe in love again, not the glittering, cinematic version, but one that grows quietly between two people who truly see each other in this noisy world. Their connection feels like a rare kind of silence. Sparks fly in their contrast. He is calm, steady, and unyielding like a deep lake. She is gentle, bright, and full of spring warmth. His silences aren't distance, they are a promise to protect. Her gentleness isn't weakness, it is resilience. Fans often say they don't look like co-stars. They look like soulmates. And when Zhao Zhendong once said during a late-night live stream, "Let's walk together," the words, though simple, felt like a lifetime vow, because love, as their story shows us, isn't grand gestures or endless "I love yous." It's showing up. It's refusing to let go when the other person is most tired, most fragile. In a world obsessed with filters, strategies, and curated emotions, the rise of He Yang and Zhao Zhendong can be traced to one simple thing: authenticity. They don't manufacture drama. They don't force moments. They meet each other with sincerity, and that sincerity crosses the screen, stirring something deep in the people who watch them. Perhaps their greatest gift is not the fame, but the quiet reminder that true love, in its purest form, still exists.